Welcome to Your Voice, Women's Rights in the Workplace. My name is Deborah O'Rell, and I am your host. I am also the Director of Client Services for a women's rights in the workplace law firm that concentrates in New York, Connecticut, New Jersey. And as an offshoot, or to complement that, this webcast is where I will be interviewing trailblazing women who draw on their experiences and use their voice to help women to enhance women's rights and opportunities in the workplace, which obviously covers a lot of topics. So today we're going to be talking about, are you looking for your dream job or how to land your dream job? So if you are ready to ramp up your career, what is the next step to take? So this episode, I will be speaking with Kelley Joyce. Kelley is a personal coach, an executive coach who has worked for and counseled executives at Fortune 500, publicly held, and high-profile startups during critical events such as IPOs, mergers and acquisitions, financial earnings, crisis issues, launches, and venture capital deals. Kelley is a certified professional coach, CPC if you ever see that anywhere, as well as a recovery coach who draws on nearly 20 years of experience working as a senior executive of global technology public relations agencies to help others find the right balance between their careers and the essential life components, which include things like health, financial security, relationships, spirituality, a nurturing home, and let's not forget fun. So if you'd like to learn more about Kelley when this is over, please visit her website, thetruthatwork.com. Please join me in welcoming Kelley today.
Hi, Deborah. It's so lovely to be here.
Thank you for taking time, because this is such an important topic that, particularly coming out of the pandemic and as the looming future. So how do you find that perfect job? But before we get to that, because this is about trailblazing women, I do like to talk about, if you would, share how you and why you decided to become a coach, start a business, your story.
Sure. Yeah. Why I became a coach is both, parts personal and professional, right? Over 20 years ago, when I moved to New York, it's my 20th anniversary this year, I came here really in turmoil. I was really stuck in my career. I had been in the same role for 4 years, and I moved here in the middle of a separation and a divorce. And so it was, there was a lot going on. And, the person that was really able to help me, I tried therapy, I tried all sorts of modalities, was coaching. I hired an executive coach she's up in Canada. Her name's Barbara. I love her to death. And she specialized in executive women. And of course, at the time, I didn't consider myself an executive woman. I'm like, what? So I felt so honored to work with her. And she was the one that really helped me, helped me get the promotion, helped me push through, on the personal side as well. And I never forgot that. I always had so much gratitude around that. And as I moved up through my PR part of my career for another 10 years, up the ladder, did my MBA, through the last recession, it just became so apparent that many, many people, including myself, had become unhappy, very, very unhappy with work. And I knew that my skill base as a person and a professional really lived in that arena, trying to help people from both a practical standpoint on like what to do, and also, kind of decoding that person about, what are the boulders standing in the way of them being able to achieve, what they want. So, 10 years ago, I just jumped off a workforce cliff, if you will. I left my 18 years of PR executive, role and started a business.
Hmm.
around coaching. And that's been a whole learning experience onto itself.
Yeah. I want to also, just for future episodes, that whole entrepreneurial
Yes.
experience, and how wonderful that you found the coach who could help you step into your power, to
Yes.
help you visualize the potential.
Yes.
Because when we have only ourselves and our own experiences, it is somewhat limiting.
Yeah.
So to have someone behind you to say anything is possible,
Yeah.
or have you thought about that? So, so in terms of that, what are the core areas of concentration? I know you have this broken down to 3 areas.
Yes. Yes. So my career coaching focuses on 3 areas. The first area is career path discovery, right? So that answers the question, who do I want to be? What do I want to do when I grow up, right? And it doesn't matter how old you are in answering that question. You need to re-examine and re-answer that question all the time.
Yeah.
And if you aren't, that's why you're probably stuck or unhappy, right? So some people call it vocational work. Some people call it career counseling. That's what it is. Big part number 2 is job search. Once you know what you want, then it's all about the go get it, right? So that's what most people think of when they think of career coaching, because it's a little bit more action oriented. It's like, get my resume and my cover letter and my interview and my networking. Where's my pitch? And I do all those things, negotiation, etc. Because we go out there and we go get. But that's what most people think of, when they think of career coaching. The last part is actually performance acceleration. So when we're in a new job, especially the first 90 days, critical time period that indicates future success, by the way, or that you've been in it, that maybe your manager has kind of abandoned you, or things are on a plateau and you want to take it up. That's where I work with people around goals, setting their goals, breaking them down into actionable tasks and metrics so that they can keep moving.
Just so the first 90 days, you just made a point that's most important. Can you elaborate a little bit?
Sure. So, going into a new job or a promotion, even from within, has its own challenges. A global relocation and also maternity return are really important. Yeah, huge.
Yeah.
Really huge aspects of setting yourself up on a good way, because you will meet the fire hose of everything, information, people, systems that can overwhelm you, and you will absolutely just forget through your overwhelm and exhaustion that you need to lead the way. No one cares about your goals as much as you do.
So true. So true. Why do you think women struggle so much to make progress, to make transformation?
Sure. Yeah, I think that there's a few really big things, and I see this with my male clients as well, which my client base is about 50-50, by the way, and that's something that I love about that, right? But my clients, in addition to saying, hey, I want to figure out my career path, and they get that. I want a new job, and I get that. It's really confidence all day long, right? Is lack of confidence, not enough, wavering, all that kind of stuff gets in the way. The second thing is clarity, not knowing what you want, changing your mind, hedging your bets on all different kinds of things, right? Spreading your energy around too thin. And then the third part is they really want the certainty, and the certainty actually comes, and we say these are uncertain times. They've always been uncertain. It's just that people are just saying it more, right? Is that with certainty, there's some steps you have to take, in order to move ahead. And, we're not all in love with everything that needs to happen. Like, say, you have to have a resume, right? But you just got to do them. They're not going to do themselves. And we do that. So confidence, clarity, and certainty, wins the day.
How do you know your life or your resume lacks confidence?
Yeah, great question. And actually, I recently did a post on LinkedIn, and you could, check me out on LinkedIn. I have fresh content every Wednesday. I did one in 10 signs that your career lacks confidence. And it was a very, very popular post. And the signs are all what I called unders. Underselling, under-articulating, right? Like underpaid, underemployed. All the underings is big signs that this is going on.
Do you see a difference in how women may have more underings than men?
Mm-hmm.
Or how do men and women approach this differently?
Yeah, and this gets a little bit into negotiation as well, right? About expectations. But I see women doing a lot more comparison or having just lower expectations. Their set point is lower.
Yeah. I see this too, without a doubt. I would say I speak to, even though we're women's rights in the workplace, 40% of our clients are men. So I am speaking to, and there are things that women regularly say that men
you don't hear from men.
Never. I mean, maybe in 15 years, one time, one guy did, but overwhelmingly, women, particularly around money.
Here's something that I see really consistently, just for a very specific instance, is we'll be looking through job descriptions online, right? And I'm a big fan of networking, by the way, versus just submitting in cold resumes. That's a whole other discussion. But I do like looking at job descriptions just to figure out, get a baseline about, what it means to be a director of marketing, for example. And I'll do the same exercise with a female client and then with a male client. And a male client will be like, yeah, I got that. All the boxes. A woman will sit there and say, well, I've only done that once. Yes. I could probably only do half of that, so I shouldn't submit. And then a lot, they don't. Yeah. And a lot of them have to push them and say, submit anyways, and let them reject you. Do not reject yourself before you even try.
Yeah.
Because I can assure you, he sent in his resume.
Yeah. Exactly, about what that dream job actually is, and to not, if I'm hearing correctly, and to not limit it already, to not say, I don't have enough experience, I'm not smart enough, or I need to be able to leave to pick up my kid, or, those kinds of things, to not self-sabotage and sort of jump in and be willing to take the risk.
Yeah.
And
because it won't work out anyway either, right? If you're not honest with yourself about how this is going to go, I don't want you to get the job and then call me 45 days later saying you quit. It happens.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. From there, I also, a lot of people find confidence or assurance in doing tests. So I am a Myers-Briggs personality indicator assessor. I'm also a strong interest inventory assessor. And the difference between the two is the Myers-Briggs is who you are. It's personality, right?
Right.
And the strong is about what you like, your unique preference. So between the two, it's a really nice, crossover between people of my kind typically like doing this kind of work and what me as a unique individual like. And then we roll into a plan, designing a search plan. And not everyone actually wants a job, by the way. When they work with me around career path discovery, sometimes their next step is not let's get out there. Sometimes it's school, some sort of training. I've had tons of that in the pandemic, tons.
Yeah, I would imagine.
So much.
Yeah.
Business building, going out there and working for the man or the woman isn't as secure as it used to be. Sometimes working for yourself is the solution. And there's just other things, I've had people actually look at their money and they retire. They realize they can actually retire. I've had people have babies, join the military. I mean, life is big. So, most people want a job. Probably 75% of people.
Well, most people need a job. And so it's transitioning from that feeling of need and desperation, I'll take anything, to actually creating the space to say, I need a job, but this is what I want. This is what I'm worth. Yep. And taking the steps to try and figure out how to get that dream job. Yeah.
And it's like you said earlier, it is courageous to do that. It's not easy to do the I need this and I want this too, but you just have to trust that really is the way.
Right.
For sustainability, for profitability. I mean, you want this thing to stick.
Yeah.
You don't want to be doing this all the time.
Yeah. Well, it's not good for your resume. So
no, and it's not good for your heart and your mind.
Yeah, exactly. And I would say it's that the more you take risks, the more it builds your confidence. Quite frankly, doing this webcast is a huge risk to me. This is way outside my comfort zone. But I've had other successes that I can rest on to say, okay, what's the worst that could happen?
Right.
That
it's just you and me watching this.
Exactly. And what does that even really mean? But it's being able to take those risks. So, and that comes back to the confidence, which, just to sort of wrap this up, in terms of, do you want to wrap up your points, to recap those?
Yeah, sure. With the job search or,
whatever you
confidence?
would like to wrap this up, because
sure. Yeah. So if you're trying to figure out what it is that you want to do next, career path discovery is for you. That's really where it's at. If you have a reasonable amount of certainty, clarity that what you want to do, you're kind of like in the ballpark, and you feel like you have a tolerance for moving ahead in a search and being open to making adjustments as you go. Like there's more of this in the market, or I got feedback on an interview that says maybe I'd be better for XYZ, right? Then going ahead with the job search is where it's at for you. Do your resume and your interview and your LinkedIn. Yeah.
Really, I hire a trainer to learn to be a coach. I'd hire somebody to fix my resume for sure.
Yeah. And I handhold my clients through all that.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Co-writing, co-pitching. I mean, it's very hand in hand of an adventure.
Yeah, definitely. So we will be linking to your 10 signs that career lacks confidence. We'll have that link somewhere here. And thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. I think this has been really helpful information. Thank you so much.
That's great. And if people are looking for even more help, beyond the 10 signs, I do offer a free consult. And you can access that right into my calendar from thetruthatwork.com/consult.
There you go. So thank you again. And thank you for listening to Your Voice, Women's Rights in the Workplace. For more episodes or to learn more about what we do, go to womensrightsny.com. And until next time, thank you.
Thank you.